The government is proud to have recently passed the Protection from Domestic Violence Law 2010. It is an updated and far-reaching piece of legislation that repealed the 18-year-old summary jurisdiction domestic violence law.
The training was necessary because the new law came into effect last year, and we felt that persons on the front line, whether it was police officers, social workers, persons who work in the healthcare field, anybody who works on the front line with victims of domestic violence or potential victims needed to know what the new provisions were, how they are incorporated within the law, and how they can advocate for victims. The new domestic violence law was brought to the House in September of last year, and the governor ascended to it in October of 2010. The goal of the new law is to afford protection for victims and potential victims of domestic violence. The improvements in the new law are that it expands the definition of domestic violence to include not only physical, but emotional, psychological, financial, and sexual. It also expands who is protected. There's a wide range of people who are now protected under the law that they weren't previously protected in the summary jurisdiction domestic violence law.
The fact that this new law really expands the definition of domestic violence is amazing. Domestic violence is not just physical, and usually physical is one of the last things after many years of emotional and financial abuse that have been taking place. Domestic violence is such a multifaceted issue where you have issues regarding shelter, food, employment, just family counseling. There's so many facets to it, so it's important that everyone is aware and to try to work together. One, because we're a small island on limited resources, so if we could all work together, it would make such a big difference in the services we provide, and we can provide a more holistic approach where we can be working with a victim, and there's also services for the perpetrator, because it's important to get that person help as well. They're victims in their own way as well. The agencies that were invited to this information session were Department of Counseling Services, obviously Family Resource Center, Department of Community Rehabilitation, the Health Service Authority. We also invited individuals from the Education Department, Crisis Center employees, our legal befrienders, the police, and as well as Department of Children and Family Services.
Well, I think it's important to have an understanding of the new legislation. Our department provides services for domestic violence intervention for offenders who may be before the court or with other agencies in the community such as our CIPS, and I think that this will provide a good foundation as to where we're going in terms of legislation and any options that are available to assist not just the offender, but also to assist the family unit as a whole.
Domestic violence has always been an issue in the Cayman Islands, and unlike other jurisdictions, we're no different in that we have a problem in collecting statistics. That's something that the ministry is looking to collaborate with other government agencies so that we can have a better idea as to how often domestic violence occurs. I think right now we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg because the reporting is to different agencies and there's no one really collating that information.
We recognize that the family is a building block of our society, and in order to strengthen the moral and social fabric of society, we have to ensure that the home environment is free from domestic violence and a safe place for all.